Hi everyone, welcome to the Oracle Show. Today I want to talk about a different sport. I actually want to talk about cricket, and one of the teams that I want to focus on is on Pakistan. Now, if you've watched Pakistan over the last year or so, or last couple of years, you could see that they've been going on a downward spiral, and it's not been a very good time for them. So there's been things that have occurred recently that's caught my eye and has caught my attention, and one of those things is the recent Champions Cup that is occurring right now as we speak, and by the time that this video comes out may have already been ending. And one of the reasons why I wanted to cover this is because it's just after the Pakistan versus Bangladesh series, where Bangladesh played absolutely fantastically, completely wiped the floor of Pakistan, and have managed to do something that's never been done in the history of cricket, which is beat Pakistan in their own backyard. So you have to think to yourself, okay, we just lost this series. How does Pakistan come back from this? How can we prepare ourselves better for the England series, which, trust me, will be a lot more difficult compared to what Bangladesh were able to do to Pakistan? So the PCB's solution was to come up with the Champions Cup. Now, if you don't know what the Champions Cup is essentially a 50-over tournament that is made to essentially bring about new players, as quoted by Mohsin Naqvi, who is the PCB chairman, to bring out 5 players for every position. So there'll be 5 number 1 batsmen, 5 number 2 batsmen, 5 number 11 bowlers, 5 wicket keepers. He wants to make 5 players for every position, and he wanted to give new people and new players a chance. Now, that's all fun and dandy, that's all great, but we need to see how this is put into practice. And I gotta say, I am not impressed. Just by me looking into a few things in this tournament, I was completely astounded by what I've seen, what I've heard, and it's really shocking. If I have to just start off, and maybe I'm nitpicking a little bit, but if we were to look at the opening presentation and the pictures that came out for the start of this tournament and how it was advertised, if we were to look at some of the pictures and what they were showing, you had some players literally coming in jeans, camouflage trousers. Some of the people looked like they just came out of bed just to take pictures and advertise this tournament. Some guys wore shorts and whatever. So it just came off to me that this hasn't been done in a more professional manner that maybe it could have been, and what these guys are trying to do in promoting this tournament as the next big thing. So that's one thing. And if we were to look at the teams, especially on who is the captains and how the teams are put in place, it doesn't really fill me with any sort of confidence. But you know, to give them some positives, it's nice to see Mohammad Haris as a captain for one of the teams. And the funniest thing is that Babar Azam and Shan Masood are in the same team under Mohammad Haris. 2 of the current Pakistani captains are not even captains in this tournament, which is actually quite telling. And those are the sort of things that I support, to give new people a chance. But then I see some of the other things, the other people that are captains, such as Shaheen Afridi. Look, if you didn't think that Shaheen Afridi would be a good captain in the international format, especially if you remove his captaincy very shortly after giving it, then what was the point of making him captain in this tournament? Wouldn't it make more sense to make someone different captain, to build other people up and to try out someone new? Because if it didn't work before, and if you still don't believe it will work in the future, then what was the point in making him captain? And another one was Shadab Khan as well. If we were to look at his performances over the last couple of years, it's been quite abysmal to say the least, and I don't think that it has warranted him in being captain. Even though he is one of the more senior members in the team, his performances just haven't backed his case to be a captain. And if you were to look into the teams far more deeply, you would see that a lot of teams are very top heavy, and some of the management, the player selection just don't make sense. For example, why is Shadab Khan and Osama Mir in the same team? They're both leggies. They're both competing for the same spot, and if one of them is the captain, then obviously they're going to favor one front situation over the other and try and diminish the other. I know, and I can confidently say that in the Champions Cup, they put in a 50-over match, they put Osama Mir on the 48th over. The 48th over of the match. The one over during the entire time, or during that spell, you could say, that you know the batsmen are going to smack it to Kingdom Come. You decide to do that to Osama Mir just to ruin his average or just to prove a point, which is absolutely poor and disgusting, really. It's quite clear what was going on. So, and that's just one example I was give. I'm not even going to go into the whole lot because we'll be here all day. today. But this is one thing that I want to clarify with everyone. Another thing that I also wanted to mention are the mentors. So we have 5 mentors: Sarfraz Ahmed, Misbah al-Haq, Waqar Younis, Shoaib Malik and Zach Lane. If we're to go one by one, Sarfraz, he's a player, he's an active player. So tell me, what was the point of having an active player as a mentor? This is a person who is supposed to teach the other players and help build new talent. So why is he then coming onto the pitch and being a wicketkeeper? It's quite clear that he's trying to get back into the Pakistan team. I don't blame him for trying to get back into the Pakistan team, but then he shouldn't be a mentor. It should be given to someone else. And I just heavily respect Sarfraz Ahmed. I respect the fact that he's won the Under-19 World Cup. He's won the Champions Trophy. He was a street smart captain. He's helped Pakistan achieve many things, but this wasn't the right decision to make him a mentor, especially if he's a current player. Misbah al-Haq, tell me, these guys are paid 5 million rupees a year for this Champions Cup. So why is he leaving the tournament midway to go to America for a fundraiser while this tournament is going on? How does that make sense? How are you even allowed to do that? If you're being paid an absurd amount of money in Pakistan standards, then how could you even leave a tournament like this? Where's the professionalism? Where's the logic in it? And why hasn't anyone intervened? And this is a person who is supposed to be mentoring and building new players in this tournament apparently, and he's left to go to a fundraiser. So that's him. Waqar Younis. I don't need to talk much about Waqar Younis. As a player, he was fantastic, he was phenomenal, one of the best that Pakistan's ever seen. But as a coach, he's been very, very problematic over the years. Ever since he's gone into coaching, there's been one problem after the other problem, and just so many issues that come about where I'm just not confident in him being part of the PCB in any setup at this point, because it's been tried and tested too many times. We need to just let it go. Shoaib Malik, he's a player that's recently retired. I could say forcibly retired due to age or whatever. I think it's a bit early for me to say. I'm not sure how the selection will go out, but you know, I'm not too convinced personally, to be honest with you. We have Zach Lane. Now Zach Lane as a spinner, he was fantastic for the time he spent in Pakistan, and the amount of wickets he took was phenomenal. But you have a conflict of interest here. Shadab Khan is his son-in-law, and Zach Lane is the mentor for the Panthers, which is the team that Shadab is the captain of. So please tell me, how is that going to be a good thing? It's quite clear what's going to happen, and he's even came out with quotes saying how Shadab is doing wonderful and he's doing great and this and that. If you're going to have a conflict of interest like this, then no one is going to take your word seriously, and that's exactly what's happening now. Anyone with an objective brain and who has critical thinking can clearly see that obviously he's going to try and show Shadab Khan in a good light, and that's why it's just not looking good for the Champions Cup at all. Just as I said, these mentors are being paid 5 million rupees each, which is quite a lot of money in Pakistan standards. So tell me, why is it that in this tournament they can't even get a speed gun for the matches? Any tournament you go around the world, they're able to tell you how fast the fast bowlers are bowling, because if some bowler is bowling extremely fast, 140, 150, something crazy like that, then it would be big news. So it doesn't make any sense how the PCB, which is the 4th richest cricketing board in the world, they tried to promote this tournament to the maximum that they could, and they couldn't even provide a speed cut. And one theory I could come out on why they didn't want to do this is because they wanted to protect certain players and hide certain individuals, because they didn't want to expose them. Because if they did that, then people would see that something's gone very wrong, because we can see that for some players their speed has gone down quite dramatically. Another thing that we can also say is, I understand that this tournament was made to prepare for the Champions Trophy. Obviously this is a 50 over tournament and they want to prepare in the long term, and I don't begrudge them for that. I think it's understandable why they would do that, but the timing of this is extremely wrong. When you're supposed to be preparing for the England series that's coming up during the test period that it is right now, then what is the point of having this tournament right now? They should have tried to have planned it for another period. Maybe there wasn't any other time to do this tournament, but it just feels like a quick fix for a very long-term problem. And especially, quick side note, one of the matches was on a religious day, so they couldn't play it, so some of the scheduling was a bit off as well. And the most upsetting disgusting thing that I feel that I can say about this tournament was how there was an under-19 tournament that was currently going on, and they had to stop that just to promote this particular tournament. And that is, without a shadow of a doubt, one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen. There are a lot of kids that grown up watching Pakistan, that dream of playing for Pakistan, that leave their studies and use cricket as a way to express themselves and get away from the tensions of life. And there are parents that toil day and night to help their kids fulfill their dreams. And the PCB decided to put an end to that. All for what? For this tournament that clearly hasn't been run properly, just isn't prepared in the right sense. There are no words to explain how utterly disgusted I am and how sorry I feel for these poor kids, because this tournament has been made to promote new talent. But tell me, how are you going to promote new talent if you're not even going to incentivize the under-19s where the talent comes from in the first place? That's how you get guys like Sarfraz Ahmed. That's why you get guys like Mohammad Amir, Shahid Afridi, Wasim Akram. All these guys come from the under-19s, and that's how they burst into the national team. And honestly, it's just very, very disgusting. This just tells me, and should tell all of you, that this tournament is nothing more than a sham. It's a cover-up. It's just there to provide a short-term solution to a long-term problem. And let's just say hypothetically that this tournament did bring new players into the team. I haven't watched too many matches. I haven't seen much of this tournament, but I did enough research to find out that there have been some players that have done pretty well. Kamran Ghulam, he got 2 centuries. There was also another guy called Abdul Samad who played some pretty good knock. And surprisingly, Mohammad Hasnain has actually bowled pretty well in this tournament, and credit to him, he's managed to get quite a good number of wickets. So see, these are the standout names from this tournament. We were told that in this tournament they would promote new players and give new people a chance to get into the national team. So why is it when the Pakistan versus England lineup was shown to the public that none of these players are in that squad? Why is it that the picked players that are carrying a knock, already carrying an injury? We know that Shaheen carried a knock due to a match that he had played in this tournament, and they are forcibly playing in this series against England when they're clearly injured. And why haven't these players been given a chance? It just shows that this tournament is nothing more than a sham, just a cover up, and it's just really, really disappointing. And it was just something that I wanted to bring out there. I feel very, very bad for a lot of people that had to watch this tournament, and a lot of the people that have performed well in this tournament just haven't been given a chance. It's very upsetting, but what can you do? But anyway, that is me talking about this Champions Cup. Hope to see you all soon. Please like and subscribe from this video, and I hope to hear from you soon.